shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. Like I haven't seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. It's time to switch it up, put the hip shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. Like I haven't seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. Money. All you got is like being wealthy. Like Kanye West said, having money is not everything. Not having it is. Don't do the work you ain't paid and God gives us the ability to create wealth. You know, it's the love of money that's involved. You know, we have money so much, why would you have to go to work? Yeah, I'm not just thinking about other things that you think about. I'm just trying to leave a legacy for money. That's not everything, but when you got it, you can do some cool stuff. Now, your host for Talking Money in the Morning, financial health mentor to the working class, Cortez. Good morning, and welcome to Talking Money in the Morning Live with your main man, Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the working class, where I do my absolute best to bring practical yet proven wealth building strategies to working class men and women all over this great nation of ours. I truly count it an honor, privilege, and a pleasure to be able to present to you Monday through Friday on Talking Money in the Morning Live at 7 a.m. each and every morning. Yes, Juan, that Milwaukee turnaround was bananas. Now I'm back on the road for 9 hours to the ATL, man. But it's a labor of love, man. I love what I'm doing, man. I'm super excited, man, to bring financial literacy to our community, man. We so desperately need it. So again, welcome to the show. If you are on Facebook, do me a huge favor and share the stream on your timeline. It's live Q&A. Maybe some friends and family on your timeline will tune in and have questions on how to build wealth, business, branding, marketing, anything, man. We talk about anything, empowerment in the Black community, whatever. Doesn't really matter. It's Free Game Friday. If you got business ideas, if you're looking for a business idea, I've got tons of them, man. I'm the son of the creator. All I do is create, man. So if you need a business idea, I'll give you one. All you got to do is take action. So you might have questions. So share this on your stream for me. Same thing with you guys on YouTube. If you do me a huge favor, copy the link and then share it on your favorite social media outlet, whether that is Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, wherever you like to share links and information. Share this as well so that we can get people involved in the conversation. James Washington, good morning, brother. So we're going to get ready to get started. And as always, just in case you stumbled upon this show on accident, I always like to let you know exactly who this show is for. This show is for my risers and grinders this morning. If you got out of bed with legacy on your brain, this show is for you. If you rolled out of bed and the moment you put your feet on the floor, you start working and walking towards your goals for the day, your goals for the future, this show, my friend, is for you. If you're the type of person who's got the desire to be wealthy, the will to be wealthy, you got the discipline to be wealthy, but maybe you're lacking a game plan. Maybe you need a mentor. Maybe you need some strategy, some tips. Maybe you just need some extra information to get you over that hump, to get you off the fence, to get you started, man. Well, this show, my friend, is for you. If you are like me, an eternal optimist, and you just love feeding your brain positive, uplifting information, this show, my friend, is for you. Now, on the other hand, who is this show not for, right? If you have one of those people who have that weird relationship with money where you think capitalism is a dirty word, you think money is evil, this show ain't for you, right? If you have a problem with me just saying the word money 15 times in the last 10 seconds, this show ain't for you, right? If you're sitting back waiting on the government to fix the economy instead of focusing on your economy, this show, my friend, is not for you. Now, let's be perfectly clear, though. I do not have a problem with you not wanting to be wealthy. I only have a problem with you if you have a problem with me wanting to be wealthy. I don't know what that's all about. If you are content with where you are, why does it matter to you with where I am and where I'm going? As I tell you each and every morning, if you've never seen a future billionaire before, I want you to take a screenshot because you're looking at one and then watch me work. Hold me accountable. Watch me work for the next 5 to 10 years and see what happens. So if that happens to be you when you fell upon this show on accident, this show, my friend, is not for you. You can tune out and we won't miss you, right? Today's show is brought to you by none other than the Financial Health Mentor. Guys, I don't have a sponsor for today's show, but I want to let you know that those of you who are agreed, if you're in the chat and you agreed to come out to the meet and greet tomorrow morning, give me a thumbs up that I'm going to get to hang out with you guys tomorrow morning from 9 to 11 when I touch down in Atlanta. I'm super stoked about some of you guys that I'll get a chance to meet in person, so I can thank you in person, because I am humbly appreciative of everything that you guys do when you come on this morning. You let me know you appreciate what I do, and that gives me the wherewithal to continue to move forward. I'm saving the show, showing it to my family. That's what's up, Juan. I appreciate that, man, because that's what this thing is all about, guys. I'm just trying to help people get into the place where you're not overtaxed. You understand that in order to build wealth, you have to have some sort of business enterprise for yourself, and then you're not drowning in debt. Because if you can overcome those 3 hurdles, you are on the road to building financial freedom and success. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be a cakewalk. That just means you're on the right track. You have the right formula. Now you have to mix it in the right proportions and get it to operating in your life. So I appreciate that big time, bro. I'll be in Atlanta today, but today I'm tied up in workshops from the moment that I touch down in Atlanta all the way through probably midnight tonight. But then tomorrow morning is the best time that I could carve out for a meet and greet from 9 to 11. Perhaps after my workshops, Saturday evening, 8, 9 o'clock p.m., maybe we can do something else. I just couldn't guarantee that, so that's why I didn't create an event or put a schedule out for that. And then Sunday, I'm in workshops again all day. Then I'm on the road back to St. Louis. So it's Friday recap, guys. So let me recap what we did this week. Yesterday, there was no show because I was on the road, but I did put up the replay of, I think, episode 5, where we talked about investing wholesale versus retail. Anybody get a chance to check that out? Investing wholesale and retail, and I literally went through a screen share and I showed you how to go into Vanguard and read some of their funds. And I think the fund that we actually concentrated on the most was a fund that was paying 10.59% since 1985. See, a lot of times when I tell people that I can show you how to get double-digit rates of return on your money, people look at me with that side eye. Like, man, get on with that, man. Ain't nobody paying that kind of interest. This thing has been paying that. Not only paying that amount, but that's been the average since 1995, right? 40 years or something. But we don't understand the game and how that's played. But I also share with you that while you can go into a Bank of America, a U.S. Bank, a Wells Fargo with $100 and open an account, you can't do that with a Vanguard, T. Rowe Price, Fidelity, Prudential, some of these big time wholesale investing institutions. You can't do that. That's how they shut the little guy out. And it's not really shutting the little guy out, it's keeping out the novice investor, keeping out the investor that wants to dip their toe in the water. This is all about long-term investing, because you got to know that the longer they're able to invest your money and flip your money, the better the returns they're going to pay. So they set the price high. You got to come in with $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 to deal with these guys. That's why our Financial Success membership teaches you cash flow management on the front end, so you can get to a place where you can save up that kind of money, and then don't put that money in the bank where you're going to get a 0.5% rate of return on your savings account. You maybe get 1.5% in the money market, and probably the most you're going to get is 3%, 3.5 on a CD or certificate of deposit. No, the banks are going to take that money. They're going to put it in Fidelity, T. Rowe Price, Vanguard. They're going to get a double-digit rate of return, and then they're going to pay you out the difference. You, my friend, can go directly to those places, skip over the middleman, go directly to those places and put yourself in position to earn them kind of returns yourself. But you have to have your cash flow right, because you're not going to them people with $100, $200. They don't want to play around with you. You bring $3,000 to the table, they know you're serious. They know you're going to leave that money in there long term, so they can give you a better rate of return, because you're going to invest with them long term. The reason you get no investments or no interest rate in your banks and your local banks, because you're basically dealing with what's called cash equivalents. That means you're putting your money in places where it's the same as cash because you can always touch it right away. That's why that's too risky for them to get your money and start investing, because you might put it in today and then tomorrow you might come right back and get it out. So that's why the rates of returns are limited, right? So that was a replay on yesterday. Anybody get a chance to check that out yesterday? Have any questions on that? Let's start getting your questions formulated as we roll. On Wednesday, we talked about evolution. The fact that, think deeply about this, guys. We are living on a planet that is constantly spinning on its axis and revolving around the sun. So there is literally no such thing as standing still. In fact, if you call yourself standing still, you're actually going backwards in time. If you're standing still, you're actually going backwards. So we talked about evolution. If you're not evolving, you're dying. If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not constantly progressing and moving forward, you're moving backwards by default. So you have to understand that. And we talked about the three things that are responsible for your continued growth or evolution: the people you hang out with, the books you read, and the places you go. If you're not constantly experiencing new things with the people that you're hanging around, if you're hanging around the same old duds and they're not growing and evolving and bringing new things to the table, then you're dying, my friend. You're dying, right? If you're not constantly reading books and putting new information in your head based on things that you don't already know, then you're dying, my friend. Right? You have to constantly be evolving, growing. And the only way to do that is to have a constant state of input, so you can continuously get a new outlook and a new output and a new perspective. Because every time you put something new into your brain, you can never see the world again the same way, ever. Every time you put something new into your brain, you can never see the world the same way. That's why children grow at such a rapid pace when they're young, all the way up to age 4 or 5 years old, because everything is new to them. They're forming new neurological pathways and stuff all the time because everything is so new. And then what happens at 4 or 5 years old? We put them into a school, or in other words, we put them into a routine where there's still a lot of new stuff, but 50% of the things that they're going through every day is routine. That's why as adults, we don't grow, because everything is routine. We're doing the same thing. We roll out of bed, hit the alarm clock, brush our teeth, wash our face, get dressed, shower, whatever your morning routine is, but that's just it. It's a routine. You're doing the same thing every day. But here's the deal. If you were living in nature, you'd have somewhat of a routine, but you'd be exposed to so many new things every day that you would constantly be in a state of evolution and growth, and therefore you'd be growing and literally until the day that you die, versus being stuck, stagnant. Again, if the world is always spinning, that means it's always moving and it's always revolving around the sun, then there's no such thing as standing still. If you're, my friend, trying to take a chill pill, then you're actually going backwards. How long are you going to do that? All right, the places you go, books you read, people you associate with determines whether you're growing or dying. So that was Wednesday's episode, The Power of Evolution. Tuesday, we talked in depth about minimizing your taxes, right? In my financial success membership, I literally teach you how to make about 60% of your lifestyle a tax write-off based on having a home-based business. If you're operating your business in your home, then a percentage of your mortgage, percentage of your utilities. If you throw a new roof on the house, then a percentage of that new roof cost is tax deductible, because that's where your home operation is, your home office operation is, right? A percentage of your cell phone bill, your internet bill, all of that stuff becomes tax deductible. You're driving your car for business use, so the miles you put on your car is tax deductible. If you're not tracking all that stuff, you're literally leaving money on the table, especially if you have some sort of business. If you do not have some sort of business, then we want to plug you into our financial success membership, because it has a referral-based model wrapped into it. So we teach you tax minimization strategies, wealth building principles, but you can also refer people to this program and you will earn compensation for that. So this doubles as a home-based business, so that you can get all of those tax write-offs. You can run a business from your home and get the same tax write-offs as all the Fortune 500 companies. And you can literally get your taxable liability down to next to nothing, right? So that was on Tuesday's show, how to legally minimize your taxes, because I promise you this, as long as you're overtaxed and drowning in debt, you will never build wealth. But why is taxes so important? Most people can increase their take-home pay on their job $200 to $400 per month with our tax minimization strategies. You take that extra $200 to $400 a month, now you have the catalyst that you need to start eliminating your debt. And once you minimize your taxes and eliminate your debt, that, my friend, is the beginning of building wealth, right? That's the name of the game. And then on Monday, we talked about the power of self-determination. The power of self-determination. That was actually part of a series that led from the previous week, where we talked about Proverbs 30, 24 through 28, where it says, 4 things are small on the earth, but are exceedingly wise. The ant gathers all summer, and that way they are prepared. So we learn the power of preparation from the ant. The coney is a rock badger, builds their house in the rocks. So we learn the power of leverage. They leverage an existing structure instead of building a structure from scratch. Sometimes we don't have to reinvent the wheel, guys. We just use the wheel that's already in existence in a different way than anybody else is using it. And that can create something fresh and something new for us, and we can benefit from that. So the power of leverage, we learn from the conies. The power of unity, we talked in depth on that. I think that show lasted almost about an hour. The power of unity we talked about, because we learned that from the locust. All right, the verse says that the locust has no commander. They have no king, yet they go forth in bands. That means they go forth in unison. They go forth together in unity. So we understand the power of unity from the locust. And the only way you can go forth in bands without someone having to crack a whip or command you or guide you or lead you, you have to have love for one another. So we talked about the reason that there's no unity in the Black community is because the way that we love in the Black community. See, we barely love ourselves right now. As a result, we're barely loving our neighbor. And when we have a limited amount of love for our neighbor, we can't unify with them. Until we truly learn to love ourselves, it starts with the person in the mirror. When I love myself fully, then I will see, when I see my brother as, or I see my neighbor as myself, then I will love him fully. And just like I will take a bullet for myself, if you try to bring me harm because I see my neighbor as myself, I'll take a bullet for him if you try to cause him harm. That's when we unite, right? So the power of unity. And then the fourth one was that's how we got to the power of self-determination, because it says the spider taketh hold with her own hands, yet lives in the king's palaces. So all that simply means is the spider does not have an army to command to get something or to take over a kingdom or to rule. Everything that the spider does, they do with their own hands, but yet they live in a king palace like a king. Are you, my friend, living in a king's palace like a king, or are you waiting on someone else to determine that you are a king? The power of self-determination. I've already dictated that I am the ruler, and I am fully responsible for the creation and the not only the creation, but the sustenance, right? And the maintenance of my own world. I've determined that for myself. I don't need anybody else from the outside to say, hey, you rule and you determine and you make and you create your own world. No, I have self-determination. I've determined for myself that I'm going to be a billionaire. I've determined for myself that I'm going to lay a foundation so cotton picking big for my children to build on. Not only am I going to lay the foundation, I'm probably going to build the first 10 stories of this skyscraper. Then I'm going to pass on to them the resources and the knowledge, and they're going to build the rest of that skyscraper all the way up through the sky. I promise you this, you guys won't be around to see it. I'm sorry, but I promise you this, in 100 years, when they say the name Thornton, it's going to mean something. Same way that when people say the name Trump, whether you like him or hate him, you say that people say the name Trump, you automatically know what that means. if you say the name Gates, I don't even have to say a first name, but you know, if I say the name Gates, you're only thinking about one Gates. If I say the name Buffett, you're only thinking about one Buffett, right? So in 100 years, when they say the name Thornton, when they say the name Buchanan, when they say the name White, when they say the name Kane, there's only one family going to come to mind and the great things that they left behind. See, in this world, you have an opportunity to leave a mark or leave a stain. The choice is yours. And I've determined that I'm going to leave a mark. Now, I'm not that kind of guy where they have to have statues and all of that. But I do understand this, that when you own shit, you can put your name on it. When you own shit, you can put your name on it. And I'm going to put my name on as much stuff in this world as physically possible. I can guarantee you that. That's just me. That's the type of legacy that I'm trying to leave for my family. When my great-great-grandchildren come over to their parents' home, their parents will have a picture on the mantle of me and my sugar and say, that's where it all started, right there. It started right there. They came from a lineage of people who were hardworking, but that hardworking lineage didn't understand how the money game works. So then they decided to make some hard sacrifices to study and start really understanding how the money works. And they built an empire. And that's why all of us can pursue our dreams, because we don't have to chase a dollar. That's the type of empire that I'm trying to build. I don't know about you. You guys are coming out here every morning for something. What is it? What is it that you're trying to get? What kind of empire, what kind of legacy are you trying to leave? Are you content with leaving a stain? Or are you really trying to leave a mark on this thing? I'm trying to leave my mark on this thing. Call it vain, call it, a boastful, call it prideful, call it what you want. But I've determined for myself that the name Thornton is going to ring throughout this world, not just the United States. When you say the name Thornton, the same way when you say the name Trump, when you say Gates, when you say Buffett, when you say Rothschild, when you say Rockefeller, why can't I do that? Right? That's what I see for me. That's what I'm determining for myself. Nobody else. I'm not waiting for somebody else to determine that for me and say, hey, you can build a big empire for yourself. So in that verse, it talks about the spider taking the hold by hand, meaning she doesn't have an army at her command, but she lives like a king anyway. Do you have to wait for somebody to give you the authority, or do you live like a king because you're determining that for yourself? The word says that I am a God under the Most High God, meaning I have the authority to rule, create, maintain my own world, and I'm fully responsible for all that which I create. And I answer to an audience of one, period. And I believe that, and I'm running with that. So I've determined for myself that I'm going to walk like a God. I'm going to talk like a God. I'm going to live like a God. I'm going to eat like a God. I'm going to be responsible for my world like a God. See, everything that goes on with my world and my family, with my kids, my wife, I'm responsible for all of that. And I take full responsibility for that. And because I believe that my family deserves the best of everything, then I'm going to go out there and get it for them. Point blank, period. So we talked about that self-determination. That was Monday's show. So if you guys ever want to go back and watch any of these shows that you missed, go over to my YouTube channel, which is Financial Health Mentor. So if you go on YouTube and you do a search on Financial Health Mentor, they're all there in order for the most part. If you go back to my fan page on Facebook, Financial Health Mentor, the live streams are there. I just don't know how long they stay up with the live streams. The one thing I hate about the live streams is you can't do a search in Facebook to find a live stream, I don't believe. So that gets a little difficult. But if you go on YouTube, that's why I stream both to YouTube and Facebook. All of these shows are there for your liking. Now, let's get into Q&A. So if you got questions, man, this is Free Game Friday. Anything you got questions on YouTube, I'm sorry, I haven't figured out how to get the chat thing to work. So if you got questions and you want to jump over to Facebook to ask your question, you're certainly welcome to do so. But who's got questions? Anything business related, branding, marketing, wealth building tips, strategies? Don't make no never mind, man. Whatever it is that you want to do, or got questions on, if you already have a business, give me the name of your business so I can give you a plug and then ask your question. And then we'll try to get through as many questions as we can today. We got about 15 minutes, guys, because I got to hit the road for Atlanta. So questions. Brother-in-law, what's going on, my man? Who's got questions? Any questions, comments, anything? I was trying to figure out if anybody got a chance to see yesterday's replay on investing wholesale versus retail. That's a powerful show. I think a lot of people slept on that one. That was one of my early shows. I think it was episode 5 or 6 or something like that. No questions? Come on, guys. No questions. It's free game Fridays, man. I'm gonna give you the game today on anything that you want to know. If I know the answer, I'll give it to you now. If I don't know the answer, I'll go research that thing and we'll roll that over to next week's free game Friday. Come on. It's all on you, Facebook, because YouTube can't chat. I signed up with Vanguard. Appreciate that, Tasha. Tasha said she watched the show yesterday and she signed up and created an account with Vanguard yesterday. Right? Did you get into a fund, or did you just open an account and you're still researching the funds that you want to get into? Because that's some powerful stuff. I've actually got some other stuff that I can send you, some audios and things of that nature, so you can learn a little bit more about, you know, how that whole world works. But you know, that was a fund that I saw that you can get into for $3,000. Does wholesale avoid the broker commission? Yes, because you're going straight to the source. See, the brokers are going to take your money and they're going to go to Vanguard too, just like the banks do. Now, when you're dealing with Vanguard, they do still charge fees, but they charge the lowest fees of them all. And not Vanguard in particular. I mean, that industry charge the lowest fees. So you got fees from them, and then your broker would actually charge their fees on top of the fees that they charge. And then if you're dealing with a bank, sometimes the banks go through brokers, so you can have 3 or 4 middlemen in between. I'm researching, does each fund require 3,000? I think with Vanguard, the minimum is 3,000. I haven't seen a fund for less. The only one that's a little bit less, if you have children and you're creating the school fund where you're saving for a kid's college, I think you may be able to open one of them corporate funds for $1,500. I think that's what I saw on Vanguard. But for the most part, if it's just a regular fund that you're going to get into your IRA or something like that, then yes, you'll need the 3,000. So you're a part of the Financial Success membership. That's why we're helping you get your debt cleaned up. We're going to help you create an emergency fund, and then we're going to save $3,000. Go right into Vanguard, man, and start rocking and rolling and getting that thing built up. Because once you open it with 3,000, you don't have to continue to dump 3,000 in it. Once you get it open, then you simply just put $100, $200, $300 a month in it, whatever you can afford to put in it, and keep that thing rolling. All right. So good deal, Tasha. Proud of you for that. That's a good deal. I like it when people take action on what I say. It just makes me feel good to know that people are listening. Do you have any tips on concentration of staying focused on a task? No, man, because honestly, I struggle with that myself. I will say this: if you're not building a to-do list, then that could definitely help. If you have and do your to-do list at night, so that before you lay down, you read over that to-do list 4 or 5 times. So what you're doing is you're programming your brain right before you sleep on the tasks that you have to do when you get up in the morning. And then once you get up in the morning, somebody else says meditation. That's exactly right. And you know, I don't know if you like me, but I go outside and put my bare feet on the earth, because I believe there's power in being connected to the source. Right? The earth is the source from below. The sun is the source from above. So I like to put my feet on the bare earth, and I like to think and meditate like that. But I would do a to-do list. I would do not only a to-do list, but I would do your affirmations, your goals, the things that you're going to accomplish, and you're reading that stuff every night before you lay down. And then when you get up in the morning and you go brush your teeth, that stuff is right there on your mirror, and you're reading it over and over again. And you're programming yourself to just start taking action on that stuff subconsciously. So when you do sit down to actually accomplish the task, it's ingrained in you that maybe that will help you stay a little focused. It's helped me out a little bit, but yeah, I'm just wired a certain way, man, that I'm often all over the place. But that's just how I operate. So knowing that how I operate, I have to bring people around me that do focus real well. You know, my teammates, my wife, focus real well. I see my girl Ariel on. She helps me out a great deal with her ability to focus, right? Uh-oh. What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? So I bring people around me that are good in that area. So that's what we talked about when we talk about the power of leverage. See, they leverage my creativity because I can see things that a lot of people can't see. But because my gift is vision, my gift is being able to see, I'm not as strong in the execution. That's why I need other people to lift me up in that area. So they leverage my creativity, but then I leverage their practical brain, their left brainness. So if I'm right brain creativity, their left brain more analytical, then we can leverage each other's best and come together and find a balance, and we leverage each other. The person who has money with TD Ameritrade or any other broker, what do they need to do to move their money to Vanguard without penalty? You can roll your money over to any other investment without penalty. So all you're doing, you're not taking your money out. You're just moving it from one investment location to the other. So there should be no penalty for that. So just get on the phone with TD Ameritrade and just say, hey, if you don't have any funds that are paying double-digit rates of returns, I'm moving my money. And you'd be surprised. They'll let you know exactly what they need to do to get you into one of those funds before they allow you to move that money. So it shouldn't be a penalty, Ray J. You just got to get them on the phone and say, hey, I'm not taking a withdrawal. I'm just rolling it over to another entity. And then they say, why you want to do that? Because Vanguard has a corporate bond fund that's been trading at 10.59 rate of return since 1985. Can you match that? That made me think about the Mac. Mother, can you buy that? Can you match that? Right? And you ask them that. And if they say, no, we can't match that, that ain't how we operate because we're working in trades and things of that nature. Okay, good. I'm going to move my money over to some bond funds. Right? Vanguard is an investment company, right? That is correct, Dewan. That is one of the wholesale investors. That is one of the wholesale investors. So any other questions, guys? Let's rock this thing for another 10 or 15 minutes, and then I'm going to get out of here and go get myself prepared to get on this road, man, make this journey over to the ATL. Anybody on here going to be in the ATL coming to the meet and greet tomorrow? Give me a comment if you're going to be at the meet and greet tomorrow. I'm excited to meet some of you guys personally, face to face. Some of you guys are on the team. Some of you guys are not, but you've been following the show. I'm just excited, man, to meet people who think that what I bring to the table is valuable. Right? That's what I'm trying to do. So any other questions, comments, statements, anything of that nature? But I don't want to keep babbling on, man. This is about you guys. Free Game Friday. I want to help you get some game. And sometimes when I give you, I give free game every day, but I'm giving you the game that I've thought of and I've rested on. I woke up and got some revelation on some game that I want to give you, but sometimes it's not hitting what you want to learn about. So this is why I do Free Game Friday. So tell me what you want to learn about. Sometimes it might start with a question, and then I might say, okay, we don't have enough time for that as a question and answer, but let me do a whole show on that next week. And then I can give you 3 or 4 bullet points on why I think the way I think about that particular subject. Questions? Hi, Alicia. Thanks for tuning in. Definitely. Nicolette, we need to do some I need to get you on the phone. Let's do some training. Let me get you up to speed, man, because we're at the middle of the month. I really want you to get some momentum going into next month with us. So let's get on the phone today. I'll have a lot of time because I'm actually driving to Atlanta. So I'll have 8 hours behind the wheel of a car. So I have lots and lots of time to talk to people today. Coach, what is the name of the company that does video promo with your logo? Jay, that's not necessarily a company, but if you go to Fiverr.com, that's where I do mine. Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com. And what that is that's a platform for all sorts of designers and people who sell services. They start out at $5, and you give them your logo and say, you know what? Go into graphic design or go into a video intros, and then you'll see about 40 people who do video intros, and then you look at the ones who got at least a 5-star rating. That means that's the highest they can get, and then you look at the ones who have 1,000 jobs under their belt. That means they've been at this for a while. There's a lot of people on there may have 5-star ratings, but they're only on their 10th job. I look for people who's got that experience. So if you got a 5-star rating and you've got 1,000 jobs, and so that means you got 1,000 reviews out there, then that's who I would go with, somebody like that, right? Makes sense? I would go with somebody like that. Fiverr.com. You set up an account with them, and then you get going. I will call you today for the Houston. Yeah. So we'll get up on that. Thanks for putting that in the chat for me, Tasha. Branding. If you want to brand, you get logos done on the cheap, $5 or $10. They will get that done for you. I think somebody else had a question. Me too. Thanks for tuning. Good morning. Question: branding. How do you brand? All right. So let me tell you what branding is to me. Branding and marketing goes hand in hand, but your brand is your message, right? Your brand is your message. So when you're saying how do you brand, then you have to identify your message. What is your message? Because that is the brand, is the message. And then the marketing is the method that you use to get your message in front of the people that you're trying to target with that message. So for instance, my message is personal financial success, right? For working class people. That's my message. So my marketing is, first of all, I have to identify who I'm trying to talk to. So you have to do some of this stuff before you even come up with a message. So I had to identify who I was talking to. I had to identify where they hang out. I had to identify how they like to buy, some things of that nature on branding and marketing, right? So once I identify, okay, who I want to target is working class people who are struggling to build wealth, right? Where do they hang out? A lot of them are on Facebook on their lunch breaks and things of that nature. A lot of them are watching YouTube videos doing searches on how to build wealth. So that's where they hang out. How do they like to buy? What is it that they like to spend their money on? A lot of them like to spend their money on books and tapes and DVDs and stuff like that on how to build wealth. So you understand that about your target audience. Now I crafted a message that speaks specific to that target market. And then my method of delivering that target market for me is through video. Does that make sense? So I figured out who I wanted to target this message to, who I'm talking to with this message. Then I figured out where they hang out. Then I figured out how I want to deliver the message. Then I came up with the message, the brand. I'm the financial health mentor to the working class is the brand. It speaks to what I do, financial health mentor. I'm a coach and mentor in the area of financial health. Who do I coach and mentor? Working class people. Now it's all about the marketing piece that gets my brand, my message in front of the people that I'm trying to target with that message. That makes sense? Good question, though. Good question. So that's where it starts, and then you think about the platforms that that those people are on. So some working class people listen to the radio while they work. So a radio commercial would be a good place for me to get my message in front of those people. But I like videos because I can do this for free. It doesn't cost me anything to market when I do a video to YouTube and a video to Facebook, right? It will cost me some money if I put a commercial on the radio, but I do know my target audience hangs out on the radio. So at some point I will start doing radio promos, right? I do know that my target audience after work veggies in front of the TV, right? So at some point I will get TV commercials in front of that working class audience that veggies in front of the TV. Right now, I'm only targeting the working class that comes on Facebook and on YouTube. Was this a messed up post, or is this it's on repeat? You might need to jump out and jump back on, Tasha, because I did accidentally hit the pause button. So tell me, you guys, if you guys are live. She says she's seeing it on repeat for some reason, but I'm getting fresh questions. I have a question, Cortez. Can we hold our own presentation broadcasting your videos? Absolutely, Dewan. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we'll talk about different ways to do that. That you can, if you got a YouTube channel, then all you have to do. Okay, you're still live. Okay. Yeah, Tasha, you may have come in at a bad time. So if you jump out and jump back in, absolutely. If you got a YouTube channel, you set it up on your YouTube channel. Make me a presenter on your channel, and then I can come in and do the presentation. Or if you already subscribe to Zoom, you'll need the paid version of Zoom. It's $14 a month, but you get that paid version. You can set it up and then send me the link, and I can come on to your Zoom and do the presentation. That way you can download that recorded video and you can manipulate it however you wish. But definitely, that's what I'm here for, man, for you guys to leverage me. He lied. This is not on one of the bloopers. Okay. Cool. Any more questions, guys? Questions. Yep, Jay will hook up on the YouTube loading live stream videos. Yep. It's real simple to do too. One thing I will say is that go into YouTube, and we'll talk about this too. Go into YouTube. If your YouTube channel is not named American Hustle Investments, then you want to do that. You have to change the name to your brand name. You don't want it as Jay Turner, because you want people to see that brand and know right off the bat what they're going to find on that channel. Also, if you go on Fiverr, you can have someone create you a YouTube cover. YouTube covers are different than Facebook. I can create my own cover using Canva, but YouTube cover has some really crazy parameters, man. So they can do that for you for $5, man. Use your logo, use a picture of you, and create a nice YouTube cover. So look at my YouTube cover when you go to the channel and see how nice and professional that looks. And you can do that as well. $5 or $10, get you a nice YouTube cover. So now your branding is starting to look succinct with what it is that you're representing. You're representing the American hustler, the person who is a go-getter, the person is a grinder, and they can put that together for you, man. Give them some ideas about what it is you want your brand to represent. They'll throw that thing together. Now you have a nice professional cover. We'll talk about tagging your actual channel. So your channel should have certain tags in it that will attract people as they're doing searches on YouTube and all that stuff. So we'll do some heavy training on that today, Jay. Like I said, I'm in the car for 9 hours, man. So call me up. I'll turn my phone to a hotspot if I have to. And we can probably do a quick Zoom meeting so I can do some screen share stuff with you. And guys, that's the kind of stuff that you get when you're on my team. You get that personal one-on-one consultation. I know a lot of stuff, guys, but sometimes I've forgotten a lot of stuff that I know unless somebody asks me a specific question on that. Thank you, Linda, for tuning in. Appreciate that, Dewan. Keep sharing the stream, guys. We got 10 more minutes because at 8, I'm trying to be on the road no later than 8:30. So I've got a few more things that I've got to get in order. But if you got questions, let's ask those questions. If you don't, then I can go ahead and off the stream and get going. Minimal cost monthly on my radio show for commercials, discussions with Dallas Live with Ray J. Yes, most definitely, Ray. I am definitely going to sponsor your program for sure, because that just makes sense. That just makes sense for us both, because you got the financial success membership. So that just makes sense. And then we'll promote everything to your brand with buildwithrayj.com link, so that people can get partnered up and linked up with you. And through linking up with you, they're also linked up with me, so they get my training and coaching absolutely free. Chandra, appreciate that, Chandra. Yeah, we're gonna just coast our way on in. The first function doesn't start till 7:00 p.m. So we're just gonna take our time, man. Just coast on in. My sons had my wife up at 5:30 this morning. They got something going on at their school that kind of threw us for a loop, man. It's crazy. But, you know, like I said, this is a labor of love for me, man, because I don't know if you guys understand what's at stake here. What's at stake here? The reason I do what I do and the reason I'm partnering with the company that I'm partnering with for two main reasons: economic empowerment and community development. But we cannot develop our communities without capital. We cannot empower our communities without first empowering the people in our communities. So that's what this thing is all about for me. Yes, I'm working on getting my household in order, putting the fire out in my household. But I told you all the time, I learn, do, teach. As I'm learning, I'm doing, and I'm teaching, because that helps it further get down into my spirit. And as it gets into my spirit, that frees my mind up to continue to bring in new information. See, a lot of times we bring in new information, but if we're not using it, then it just sticks in the brain, and that starts to stagnate your ability to bring in new information. But as you do and start teaching others, that information sticks into your spirit. Or in other words, it's like this: it can go onto my hard drive, but my hard drive will eventually get full, meaning I can't put anything else in. But when I start doing and teaching what I know, it gets in my spirit, or in other words, it goes into the cloud storage. Cloud storage is infinite. So now I keep my brain open to always be receiving new things. But at the same time, I've learned, I've done, and I've taught the old things, so I still have access to pull and draw from that stuff, right? What do you recommend we do with an inheritance, and in what order? So you're talking about a lump sum of money, right? Let's see. Now, this is just off the top of my head. I can probably answer this question a little bit differently if I have some more specifics. But off the top of my head, I would say, first and foremost, set up an emergency fund for yourself, right? Depending on the amount of the inheritance, you want at least 6 to 12 months of living expenses put to the side. We teach that if you put those in a municipal bond fund, you're going to get a greater rate of return than if you put them in a regular savings account. But at the same time, you're going to have access to that money in the event of an emergency, right? 6 to 12 months. If it's a large enough inheritance, I would say do a full 12 months. So if it costs you $5,000 a month to live your life right now, I'd be looking at putting $60,000 into a municipal bond fund as an emergency fund, right? I would start there. Then I would look at my revolving debts. If you are paying credit card bills, get rid of those things. Because when you have revolving debt, that means the interest compounds. So if you don't pay them off, then you can be paying interest on that debt forever. So I would say pay off your debts. Credit cards, car notes, revolving debts. Now, I'm not talking about installment debt. Installment debt is a little bit different. That means you have debt for a term, and usually the interest rate on that term is relatively low. It's the revolving debt that keeps growing and compounding month over month is what's really killing you. So credit card debts, furniture leases, electronic leases, they're even leasing you the cell phone now, because I pay extra $80 a month because the way the cell phone lease works. So if you got stuff like that, get rid of as much debt as possible with that money, even if you exhaust the entire inheritance getting out of debt. Because here's why: if you're still working your job and you have no debt, you can build that money back up really quickly because you have no debt. Well, a lot of times people have that inheritance and they want to save it and then not pay off debt. So you're still managing debt. And then at the same time, you're chipping off that inheritance slowly. So eventually the inheritance is gone and you still got the debt, right? Don't make sense to me. I wouldn't do it that way. Then the other thing, is once you're out of debt, got your emergency fund put together, I would look at going into a Fidelity, Vanguard, T. Rowe Price, one of these companies, and starting getting involved in some sort of fund that's going to pay you double-digit rates of return. If you did not look at yesterday's replay, then I showed you how to go into Vanguard and look at some of their corporate bond funds, and those corporate bond funds pay out sometimes. This particular fund was paying 10.59% since 1985. So then I would start that investment account and make continuous contributions to that investment account. And here's what's cool. If you use that money to get out of debt, now you're making $2,500, $3,500 on your job. If you want to, you have no debt. You can pay your utilities. You can buy groceries for the house, you know, buy a little few clothing outings or whatever, do a little entertainment, and still have $1,000 left, and you can put $1,000 a month into that investment account. And let me do this. I'm gonna do this real quick because I want you guys to really see. So I'm gonna just go into a screen share really quickly. Because I'm gonna go to my financial calculator. And I want you to see how long, what you can do with $1,000 a month if you're investing that at a double-digit rate of return. So I know you guys can't see on Facebook, but on YouTube they can see this. They can see my screen. So let's see. Let me go into my home. And this is another thing about, you know, the financial success membership through my econ. It gives you the tools to really build wealth for yourself, right? You got to have these tools in order to execute on your game plan. So let me go to my financial calculators real quick. So say you did that with that inheritance. Now, who is that again? Let me see. Harry and Tina. Say you did that with that inheritance and you got yourself out of debt, right? And now you're just working your job, but you have no debt. So after your bills are paid, you know, dinner and a movie for you and your significant others, maybe kids playing sports or whatever. But at the end of each month, you still have $1,000 left over. And what do you do with that money? So we go to periodic monthly investment. And we're saying we're investing that $1,000 per month at a 10% rate of return. And if we did that for just 15 years, what would that look like? $414,470.35. So you're talking about in just 15 years, $500,000, pretty much. Because this doesn't take into the fact that you started the account with an initial lump sum, whether it's 3,000, 10,000, or whatever. This just says, okay, if I put 1,000 in, and every month I put in 1,000, in 15 years, you're talking about $414,470.35. So the significance of compounding monthly contributions is incredible. So a lot of us think that we have to be investing for 65, 85, 100 years. That ain't it, man. That's a good place to be. Wealthy people do plan for 3 generations at a time. So we should increase the way that we plan for 3 generations at a time. I told you I'm planning to put 10 stories on this skyscraper that I'm building for my family, my empire, and my children are going to build upon that and run that skyscraper all the way to the sky. And then their children are going to build a skyline of skyscrapers. And then their children are going to build a city of skyscrapers. Right? That's how you have to start thinking multi-generationally. Right? But it starts with one generation making the hard and tough sacrifices to get to where we need to be, to get to where we need to be. So I tell people jokingly that I won't get to drive the Bentley, and neither will my grandchildren, because my grandchildren will be being chauffeured in the Bentley. Y'all understand? I won't get to drive the Bentley because I'm the one who says poverty in my family stops here. It stops with me. So in my lifetime, I may have to be working so hard on laying the foundation and building this thing that I don't really get to enjoy the fruit of this labor. And that's okay with me because I'm thinking 3 generations down the line. My children may not get to enjoy it as much. They'll get to enjoy more than me, but they're right here under my wing, so they're working. That's why the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. He don't leave it to the children. Why? Because the children are right here with you grinding. So they're right here singing. So I don't leave it to them because they're building with me. I leave it to their children. Right? And then who do my children leave it to? They don't leave it to their children, my grandchildren. They leave it to their children, my great-grandchildren. It skips a generation every time. And man, you're talking about something compounding. If I build an empire like I'm building right now, and I build it to $1 billion, my children are right here at my side. They're right here at my side. So they learn how to build $1 billion empire. But I don't leave the inheritance to them. I leave it to their children. And because they have the knowledge and the skills and the experience of building with me, they're not only going to build $1 billion empire, they're going to build a $10 billion empire. And then they're not going to pass that $10 billion empire to their children. They're going to pass it to their grandchildren. So now they pass a $10 billion fortune to their grandchildren. But their grandchildren lived up under my grandchildren who learned from, who had a $1 billion inheritance passed down to them. So guys, you got to understand compounding over generation over generation. That's why the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and the Chases, J.P. Morgan Chase and J. Paul Getty and all of these people, that's why they're super set. This is what we're trying to get to, being super set. I got time for 1 or 2 more questions, guys, and I literally got to go. I literally got to go because it's after 8. I got time for one or 2 more questions. Maybe a little more. I just heard my wife getting in the shower now, so that gives me a few extra minutes. Any more questions, guys? This is what hopefully y'all like this building, guys. I'm just trying to get you to start thinking. Wealth begins in the mind. But if nobody's talking to you like this, if you're not having these conversations in your circle, then where is this information going to come from? How are you going to grow and stretch to where you need to be? Right? So that's what this thing is all about. That's why I'm here every morning. Not that I'm some know-it-all, not that I'm some genius. I'm not even a millionaire yet. Right? But I'm on my way because I'm telling you, I learn, do, teach. I'm learning different strategies. I have mentors in my life that are teaching me gangster strategies over and over and over again, man, and I'm applying them. Some of you guys are hearing this information and making no application with it. That's not me. I learn, I do, and as I do, I get better at what I'm learning. It gets more cemented into me, and then I go out and I come and teach it to you guys every morning, that which I'm doing. And that helps me. It holds me accountable because as I'm telling you this stuff, in a year from now, you can question me and say, hey, Cortez, you taught us how to leverage your credit so you can buy a multi-unit apartment complex. If I don't have a multi-unit apartment complex by next year, then you can challenge me on that. You're talking all this stuff, but you're not doing it. Right? So I want you to be able to challenge me. So one reason that I do this is because I want documented proof that in 2016, H. Cortez told you he's a future billionaire and told you to take a screenshot. And then 10, 12 years from now, when that becomes manifested, you'll say, man, that dude was not playing. He said in 2016, he's a future billionaire. And then as in little as 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, he's now worth over $1 billion. So while he was telling us what he was doing, he was also actually doing it. And if we would have been doing what he was telling us right along with him, we'd be worth $1 billion too by now. If we'd have plugged into his financial success membership, all right, that's a shameless plug, I get it. If we would have plugged into his financial success membership and really attached ourselves to his hip, we'd be worth billions now, if not billions, at least hundreds of millions. So that's another reason that I do this. So I have documented proof that what I'm telling you guys ain't no joke. See, some of you guys will sit back and wait till I become a billionaire first, and then you'll want to go back and listen and start applying everything that I'm telling you. Some of you guys have sense enough to say, man, this stuff makes sense. So I'm just going to go ahead and run with him while he's running, and we're going to race to $1 billion. Right? Some people have to see it first to believe it, but That's actually ass backwards, man. You got to believe it first before you can see it. You have to see it first before you can seize it. That means you got to believe in it. You got to see it with your mind's eye. You got to see it, that vision. You got to see it. You got to believe in that what you see, that you can go out and get. You can bring that into fruition. You can manifest that thing. And then you will ultimately seize it. You will hold it. You will grasp it. It will become yours. Keep telling y'all, man, the words that come out of your mouth are seeds. And then once you let those words roll off your tongue, they become planted. And then it's your job to nurture and cultivate the ground around those seeds. Keep pulling up the weeds that keep trying to grow and suck the life out of that seed. And you keep pulling that stuff out and you keep nurturing it. You keep pouring water on that seed. And eventually that seed will grow into a plant. That plant will grow flowers. Those flowers will produce more seeds. Some of those seeds will produce fruit. And then you will have a harvest. That's why I tell you every day that I'm a future billionaire, because that's a seed that I'm sowing constantly. Any more questions? I agree. This is a blessing. Thank you, Lakeisha. I appreciate that. Great blessing of information, but we have to apply it now. Yes, now is the time, and we are living in an age where this technology can literally help you turn anything that you're passionate about into an income stream. I can go and print money right now. Based on the things that I know, I can set up a simple funnel system and sell something of what I know. And I can have little commissions coming in over and over and over again based on what I know. But I'm taking a different approach. See, I can do that, but then I don't sow seeds. See, when you're selling information, it's not so much sowing a seed. I do over deliver when I do sell something. So my financial success membership isn't free. It's free to join, but then it's $35 per month. But I like doing this because it's free and you guys share the stream, and I just scatter millions of seeds all over the place. Right? And when my past catches up with me, meaning those seeds that I've scattered through giving this information for free, finally start to grow and start to produce a harvest, then when my past catches up with me, it's going to be all good. Some of you guys are in storms right now because it's your past that's catching up with you. It's those seeds that you planted 5, 10, 15 years ago. They finally grown to maturity and now they're starting to bear fruit. And because they were seeds of negativity, then you created storms for your life, and you can't really put a finger where this storm is coming from. It's coming from the seeds that you planted years ago. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all make mistakes. We all put out bad seeds out of our mouths. We all belittle other people and talk bad about people, talk negatively about our situations, and talk down about ourselves and all that, because we're sick people. Post-traumatic slave syndrome is a real disease. We are a sick people. So you make those kinds of mistakes, and that's okay. Just understand, when that storm comes, don't run from it. Don't run from it. Because the way the earth spins and rotates, you can run from a storm for a limited time. But guess what? That storm is still behind you. It's still behind you. So eventually it's going to catch you. So what I do when the storm comes, based on what happened in a previous life, the way I was speaking about negatively about my situation, about my life, or whatever the case may be, and that storm comes, instead of running from it, I've learned to do what they do in Florida. They just batten down the hatches, baby. They just batten down the hatches. They got the shutters. They close the shutters. They close everything up. They board up the house, and they just say, you know what? You got to weather the storm. Some of you guys are running from the storm, man. And as that storm continues to chase you down, it picks up steam and it picks up other small storms along the way. And now you find yourself too tired to run. And now you got to weather this massive hurricane mixed with a typhoon, mixed with an avalanche, mixed with a thunderstorm, mixed with a lightning storm. Just weather the storm as they come, guys. Just take it. Because one thing I know about the storms and the way that God has created this thing is that when that storm blows through and you weather that storm, you're going to learn so much. You're going to grow so much. See, a tree doesn't grow. A tree doesn't grow in the good times. See, what happens with a tree is when a storm comes through and blows through the top of that tree, and that tree gets to bending over like this, right, gets to bending over like this, what happens is that tree's roots dig down and hold and grab a hold of the earth. And it starts to grow at the root because it's trying to hold on with all it's got. And the roots start growing during the storm. See, it's the storm where the growth comes. So some of you guys are running from your storms and you're running from your own growth. You just don't realize it. I'm gonna say that again. The tree's roots grow the most during the storm. The tree's roots, what's up, Bless Ellis? The tree's roots grow the most during the storm. So when the wind blows those palm trees and those palm trees start looking like an arch, they do this and them others look like the top of the tree is touching the ground. That's when the roots of that tree is digging in deep to hold on because it doesn't want to be uprooted. So it's literally growing new roots to grab more earth during the storm. Some of you guys are running from your storm, and by default, you're running from your own growth. Because through the storm is where you grow. You come out of that storm with fresh perspective, fresh ideas, fresh everything, more experience. So now you're more wise. And that growth is what you need to take you to the next level. But you have to go through the storm in order to get the growth so you prepare for the next level. When you run from the storm, you stay at the same level. Because you didn't get the growth that you need to go to the next level. So why would God put you on a different level that you're not prepared for? He said he's never give you anything that you can't bear. So if he puts you on the next level now, then you're not prepared for that. Then you wouldn't be able to bear it. So while you're running from the storm, you're staying on the same level. But if you sit down, you batten down the hatches and you realize first and foremost, take responsibility. This storm I created. This storm I created. I'm responsible for this storm based on some things that happened in my past. And because I'm no longer that person, I'm going to go ahead and sit down, batten down the hatches and weather this storm so that I can move to the next level. And now I start sowing seeds of positivity. So the next storm that chases you down is going to be a storm of abundance, a storm of peace, a storm of love, a storm of joy, a storm of happiness. That's where I am in my life, right? See, when your past catches up with you, you determine whether or not that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. My past catching up to me is a good thing because I've been through all of the storms for the negative seeds that I've sown as a young, inexperienced man when I was a knucklehead running the streets. All of those trees have grown to maturity. They bore their fruit, and those fruit created storms in my life, and I had to buckle down and bear those storms. And now the storms that are chasing me now, the past that is chasing me now is a positive path, about 85% of it. I still have some pockets of storms, some stuff that are still manifesting for some negative things that I've done in my life. But for the most part, my past that's catching up to me now is a positive past. And that's a good thing. So you determine whether or not your past that catches up to you is good or bad based on the seeds that you sow, the words that you let fall out of your mouth or your seeds, the way that you treat people or you nurturing those seeds, the way that you lift people up, the way that you encourage people, the way that you motivate people. So if you're not doing this and that's not your habit, that's not your life, flip that thing around, man. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a storm year after year after year after year. And you can't really put your finger on it because the storm comes from seeds that you sown a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And you don't even remember some of the stuff that you did that long ago. And you start blaming other people for that storm. You have to own the responsibility for that storm. Damn it. Here's another one of those storms I created. I planted some seeds a few years ago. Now the fruit are starting to bear on that. So it's bringing a storm of negativity in my life, but I got to bear it because I'm the one responsible for it. But one thing I do know, as I bear it, I'm going to grow from this. I'm going to become a better person from this. So I'm going to take this storm, take this hit, weather it, but then I'm going to grow out of the other side. I'm going to look at everything I experienced through that storm, and I'm going to pull all the lessons I can out of that experience. And now I'm going to go from glory to glory. Now I'm ready for the next level. Right? All right, guys. I didn't mean to get so heavy on you this morning, but, you know, wherever the Spirit leads, man. Where the spirit leads. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to go get ready for my trip to the ATL. So appreciate you guys. If you guys are coming out to the meet and greet tomorrow, 9 o'clock a.m. to 11, that's going to be at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia. I think it's on Virginia near the airport. Right, I don't have the address right here, but that's where I'll be from 9 to 11. If you want to learn more about my financial success membership, there will be a presentation done by a multi-millionaire. I was telling you what we do, how we do it, how you can plug in. And again, it's free to join, guys. It doesn't cost you anything. You'll be partnered at my hip, and I will pour into you everything that I know about building wealth, building a business, building a brand, and helping you become personally, financially successful. Because when you do that in your own life, I believe that you're the type of person that will go and help somebody else do that in their life. And if we keep that chain going, eventually enough of us have our own personal financial success where we can come together and put out the fire in our community, guys. You can't dictate policy for that which you don't own. You can't control that which you don't own. So I can't control the police that comes into my neighborhood because I don't own enough of it. But if enough of us become financially successful and we start owning enough of the property where we live, then we can dictate the policy that says, you know what, this particular community is 90% African American, so we want a police force that's 90% African American. This place where we live is 90% African American, and not only do we want the police force that's 90% African American, we don't want you to hire a single cop that does not live in this neighborhood. If you hire one that doesn't live in this neighborhood, they got to move in this neighborhood so they can get to know the people. And we can kill some of that nonsense that's going on, guys. So I'm your main man, H. Cortez, financial health mentor to the working class. Until I talk to you in the next video, I want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. I love you guys. Appreciate you. Peace out, people.